Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today I have a brand new underwater point-and-shoot digital camera. This comes from a company called Ivation technology, and this is the 20 megapixel waterproof digital camera with dual LCD displays. Alright, so this camera I've actually seen quite a few times in my online shopping, and I want to say that this particular device, I did not have to have it imported. Although it is made in China, I didn't have to bother with importing it. It was easy to obtain here in the States. In fact, just before shooting this video, I went online to one of our big, major big box stores for us in the States, and on that site I was able to find this for $49.99. Now, they claim it should retail for $99.99. However, do not pay $100 for this because almost everywhere online you can find it for $50 or under. Okay, so it comes in 4 colors. The one you're seeing here is obviously the yellow, but there's also an option for red, blue, and purple. And what changes color is what you see that's yellow on this one. Let's take a look around the box here, and this box does have a lot of the specs on it, so this will also be the part where you get to see the specs. And for those, I will actually take a still photo so you can pause the video if you want. So let's go ahead and take a look around the box now. Alright, so right up front we have a big picture of the item. You'll notice that this in fact is the yellow one, so I'm not sure if this changes based on what color you get. Alright, so there we are. Display talks about, well, there's the waterproof up to 10 feet. Okay, let's go over here to the side. Here are those specifications. Okay, then here on the back, there are some more specs. Okay, and here they're talking about what you can do with your camera. A picture of it with, looks like they dropped it in a puddle there. So okay, and then we have our barcodes back here. On this side, it just tells you that you get the camera, a camera strap, and a user guide. Some other pictures, again showing off it has 2 screens. And then on the top, company with their logo. There we are. If you notice, that logo, by the way, is here blown up. You can see part of it. Yep. Okay, and on the bottom, nothing there. Alright, so overall impression of the packaging, well, it definitely works. I mean, you have this front and center, this really big picture of the item. Can't go wrong with that. As far as the rest of it, it's a tech item in a white box with a company that starts with I. So, you know, it's the trend. What can I say? Like it or not, I think it's here to stay for quite some while. Anyway, but yeah, it's simple. It works. It catches your eye. You definitely know what you're getting. So there's that as a plus for it. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead and get to the unboxing. Alright, so securing the package, there were 2 closed, were 2 of these little circle tape stickers. So I peeled them back and open the lid here. Alright. Box was really tightly closed, so that's a good sign. Okay, it looks like everything comes out on a tray here. Always convenient. Alright, so everything did come on the tray. There's nothing left in the box. So here's the tray. Underneath appears to be a box where we get our accessories. So I guess let's look at those. Oh, cool, we get a case. Did it say we got a case on the box? Waterproof camera, camera strap, user guide. No, so okay, bonus, we get a case. You can see it's textured. Pretty cool color there, silver. And this is this kind of synthetic leathery type filling right there. Pretty crisp Velcro closure. Inside the case, looks like we get our charging cable. Yep, and our wrist strap. So there's the wrist strap, which actually kind of matches the case. That's cool. Oh, by the way, the case, you secure it to your belt or whatever using this loop. Okay, and here is the charging cable. Let's look at what we have. USB on one end and micro, micro USB on the other. Cable feels actually pretty sturdy. We do have one of these beads on there. See here? So, okay, excellent. Okay, and there were also paperwork in the tray. Looks like a customer service type of deal with a number you can call. 1866. So, all right. And then here's our manual. Just quickly look at what we're dealing with here. Alright, got some nice big pictures, diagrams. Okay, and it is in English. Okay, and it looks like so both sides are in English. Alright, nice, easy to read, big panels, so that's helpful. Okay, now let's get to the main item here. Camera. Comes in a nice old little protective bag here. Alright. Bag was sealed with some little adhesive there. Okay. Alright, so protector on this, they has screen protector on there. Okay, there's the top, there are buttons on the top, front. For your wrist strap there, attach it to that pole. And it looks like you can mount it to a tripod. Battery door, I'm assuming, down here. We have a selector switch. Oh, I'm just looking at the markings. This looks to be macro focus, and then normal. Or all right. Icon's letting us know that it's splash proof, waterproof, shock proof, right? Okay. If you look over here, the lens also has a little screen protector on it, so most people probably take those off, but at least they gave it to you. But they do appear to be the temporary for shipping, not the permanently ones. But doesn't say you have to take it off. Okay. So then on the back here, it's talking about the 2.7-inch LCD display, dual screen. And of course the front one's a little smaller, but still pretty big. Okay, now let's talk about first impressions on the feel. It feels a little higher quality than I was expecting. Again, it's still, we have plastics here. This is plastic with like a rubber texture over the top of it. And I mean, these buttons, these are plastic. But, for what I paid, it doesn't seem to be lacking, at least from what I can feel right away. But everything is pretty much plastic, some textured, but like here, this is kind of a soft touch type material here on the edge for grip, I'm assuming. But I was hoping this battery door here. Let me see here. Alright, so I finally got her open. So yes, you do use this little release tab here. What I found the easiest way to do it is you pull this. Of course, it's open right now, but this would be up here, so you would not see this little metal portion. This would be all the way touching that. So anyway, you would then go ahead and move this to the side. At the same time, use your other thumb and kind of try to dig it in. You see there's like a little seam there, and then you will go ahead and so as you hold this to the side, you'll pull down with your other thumb, and then it opens up like so. And then this is what you'll see when you look inside. The two wells where you put your batteries, AAA batteries. And then you can also here see, if I can move this out of the way, you have two slots there. The top one is for, of course, your micro SD card. And then the bottom one there looks to be where you could connect the data cable. Now notice if you've opened it this far to be able to plug in the data cable, you have disconnected the batteries, even if they're still in there, because the contact tabs will then be not touching the back of the batteries. So then the circuit will be open. So yeah, so in order to basically connect it, you have to power it off. Well, it'll power off itself when you break the circuit. So anyway, it would be kind of nice if there was you could open up just the charge door without opening up the whole camera. But again, I get it, waterproof, all that. Now, talking about waterproof, so this door, although it was kind of tricky to get it open, I'm looking for how this is sealed off. And I thought there'd be like a rubber gasket going all the way around. It doesn't appear to have that, not at least where I thought it would be. So you can see here, there's no gasket. This is just, although there's a channel, pretty pronounced channel. You can see the lip right there. But yeah, no rubber gasket on this side. Over here, however, this is rubber. So you can see this right here, that's rubber. And it does seem to form fit right in that little groove. So yeah, I suppose the water would rather just run off the edge and fall off than try to seep in here. But to be honest, it's not quite as closed off as I thought it would be. But apparently it's still waterproof to 10 feet, so okay. Just wanted to give you an idea of its size. So laying it in an open hand, that's how big it is. Alright, so I got done setting up the camera, installing the batteries, putting in the micro SD card, formatting the micro SD card, setting the date and time, and of course playing around with the settings on the camera. So with all that, I just wanted to give you a few quick tips. First, let's talk about installing the micro SD card. Underneath this battery door, as you may recall, there were two slots, one for the data cable, and then the other one for the micro SD card. Now, next to that one for the micro SD card, there's a very small little symbol that lets you know what orientation to put in the micro SD card. Make sure to pay attention to that. It isn't very big, but you don't want to install the micro SD card the incorrect way. Alright, now the other thing I want to talk about is the sensor. Now, so we looked at the settings, or specs on the box, and one thing it did not tell you is what the sensor was in here, so that's alright. However, if you look at the instruction manual, this manufacturer was nice enough to actually reveal what megapixel rating the sensor itself is. Now, I understand that it says 20 megapixels, however the sensor is not 20 megapixels, instead it is 14. So now, for those who are not maybe very familiar with all this, you might say, how do you get 20 megapixels if the sensor itself is only 14? Well, there's a process called interpolation, and without going into a lot of detail, it's just basically there's a little, there's like an algorithm, and the computer inside the camera goes ahead and takes the information it has, which again is going to be shot at 14 megapixels, and it's going to add in extra pixels to give you an effective of 20 megapixels. So it uses the information it has and then kind of fudges or adds in fake pixels by using the information of the pixels it does have to make it even more detailed of a picture. Now, I'm not a big fan of interpolation, so I will not be setting this 20 megapixels most of the time. I'll have it set at 14, so no interpolation. Alright, and luckily 14 is one of the settings you can go into the menu and leave it at. So that is nice. Also, I'm glad they actually told us what the sensor is. Now, not every manufacturer does that. Alright, so one little interesting feature that you might not be concerned about, but I think it's actually really interesting that they even included it, is this. So right now you can see the camera is turned off, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And keep an eye watching where the lens would be, so right here, okay? I'm going to turn it on now. You see that? Okay, now I'll turn it off. Yeah, so they actually have a shield over the lens, and I know what you're thinking, many cameras have that, but not many cameras have it when they're in this underwater setup. The idea being, since the whole camera is protected from water anyway and dust and whatnot, what's the point of having a little shield go over the lens when the case that protects it from water will more than do that? So to actually have that on top of the whole waterproofing is kind of interesting they included it. Now let's just talk about some of the controls. I'm not going to go into too much in this because you'll have the instruction manual and all that, but up here, this button here it switches from what well, screen you're using. So if you have, when you turn it on, of course, default, this back screen will be the one you're viewing to line up your shot and all that. But if you want to use it for selfies, you go ahead and hit this, and then the front screen will turn on. The cool thing is it does not have both screens on simultaneously, so it does save battery in that way. Okay, and then all the other controls are pretty self-explanatory. On the back here, these buttons, anytime you only have like this, you only have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you count this because it's like a double button. So a lot of these will have double features, especially if you're in the menu. And you can see here there's like what actually is on the button, and then there's also a little white symbol next to it, so you can see this has more than one function. Okay, and most of these buttons are that way, so depending where you are, they do different things. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and now take this out and go get some real world shots with it. Alright, so here's where we're going to do the underwater test. I'm going to have the camera on the left side of the tub there, and I'm going to have the target or the subject matter of what we're going to take a photo here on the right next to where the drain is. And yeah, so this obviously isn't, a meter deep or anything like that, but it still will fully submerge the subject and the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and take the photo for that. Okay, so if you had a chance to see some of the photos and you're thinking, not too bad, right? Yeah, okay. So now this shoots way better photos than it does video, but in the sense of being thorough, I thought I might as well go ahead and shoot some video just to see what this thing can do. So let's get to the video sample. Alright, so I've cut the audio off for this part of the video because all you'd be hearing right now is wind noises. Okay, so this is being shot in VGA, which is the highest resolution that this camera can shoot in. So that's 640 by 480. Now, on top of that, you're seeing this is really bumpy, and that's mainly due to probably the road, but I'd say even more so my low-profile tires and stiffening of the suspension on this car. So, but anyway, if you're watching this now and you're probably your standard size YouTube window, it probably looks pretty blurry and not sharp at all. I would say the only way to make this look even decent would be to have your window really minimized, like to the very corner of your desktop. Like if you're ready to open something else, and sometimes YouTube minimizes what you're watching and puts it in a little box in the corner, then this would probably look pretty okay. But again, that's how much you're gonna have to shrink this up for it to even look remotely clean. But it is what it is. Okay, so probably not going to be shooting very important video with this. However, you're thinking, well, at least the photos looked halfway decent, right? And that's what I thought too. But what I didn't tell you is, especially for the close-ups of the flowers, I had to really work to get that to come out. Now, what I mean is, it's all regarding this switch over here. Now, this is that little thing I wanted to talk to you about, the operation of this device. And you're probably thinking, it's a point-and-shoot camera. How hard could it really be? Well, it's not so much that it's hard, it's just difficult to get right, and that's because of this here. Now I'm going to go ahead and do something. I want to show you this, how the device is off, okay? You see the lens is being covered by the lens cover there, so that's good. And then over here, see the screen's off, that's just a reflection of my hand. And on the back, this is also off again, reflection of my hand. So why am I making such a big deal about it being off? Because I'm going to go ahead and toggle this lever here, and I want you to hear something. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to push this lever down. So we're leaving regular and going into macro. Okay, now that was actually just my thumbnail, but that doesn't make any really noise. But now, let's watch when we go from macro back up to normal. Yeah, you hear that? So let's do that again. Going down to macro, nothing really, but going backwards to normal. Alright, so yes, and I've done this numerous times, so that isn't just a chance that it happened those 2 times. It does it every time you go from macro back to normal. So what am I making a big deal about? Well, remember, the power's off here. So activating this does something physical, meaning you don't need the motors or any electricity to be running through this thing in order for something to be changing in here. And it's quite obvious from the sound something is in fact changing. And I can actually feel it in my hand when I switch between these two modes. So if I had to guess, I'm pretty much sure there's an extra lens in here that when you toggle this, it slides down in front and slides out of the way depending on what mode you're going to or from. So that lets me know something's going on here, and well, what is that? If it can change without even needing power, that lets me know that we're dealing with two fixed focus lenses. So now, this is why I didn't show you in those photos. I went and picked out the best ones, as I normally would, of course, but I did not show you the numerous times it took me to get those flower shots. Yeah, I really had to dig to get you a good one. Alright, so you're probably asking though, what does that mean as far as photos taken with this device? And to illustrate it, I got my tape measure here. So, since you have to understand the distance that's required from you to be away from your subject, or how close you have to be to your subject in order to use the two modes. So we'll start off with macro mode. If you're using macro mode, you can be no farther away, 18 centimeters, all right? Or if you're not a fan of metric, that's around, about 7 inches. You will have to be 7 inches. You cannot be any further than 7 inches away, or your photos will come out blurry. They won't be in focus. You can get as close as 11 centimeters, so a little over 4 inches, but that's it. You're going between 4 and 7 inches. If you're not within that, and keep in mind, if you're trying to do this, you're getting up close to maybe your friend's gecko and you're trying to take a picture or something, all right? You're going to have to kind of keep in your mind between 4 and 7 inches. If you get outside of 4 and 7 inches, your photo comes out quite poor, all right, just to say the least. So now let's talk about macro mode, or not macro mode, but the other. So not macro mode, or we'll say normal mode, right? That's what I have the tape measure pulled out to this particular length. This is half a meter, okay, or 18 inches and some. All right. So you have to be at least this far away to whatever you want to take a photo of, or again, it will be out of focus. So now, how far does the normal mode shoot? Well, anywhere between half a meter and infinity. Yes, in the instructions it says 0.5 meters to infinity. Alright, so one lens is supposed to take focus on anything between 0.5 meters and all as far as the camera can see. So, yeah. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, I get it, but you know what? This isn't some fancy $1,000 camera, so kind of what do you expect? And I'm glad you asked that, because look what I have here. Oh yeah, so this is a little point-and-shoot camera I used to carry with me. I just push this button, but before I do that, let's look at the sizes. So here we go, side by side. Pretty darn equal, right? And as far as weight, they're about the same weight. Yeah, you'd really have to try to figure out what one by just closing your eyes and going by weight. So I'm saying they're size-wise and weight-wise, they're almost equal. Okay, so I want to use this camera here, quote, quote, real camera. I push this button, and the power button, boom. Oh, look at that. The lens actually has actual optical zoom. Look at that, moves in and out. Okay, pretty cool, right? And if I go ahead and hold down the shutter halfway, something you cannot do with this this device here, look what happens. I push this button in. So you hear that? Alright, so that's actually what they call contrast detection autofocus. It's one of the earlier forms of autofocus. After that, they would come phase detection, and then after that it was laser, or what people are calling now time of flight. Okay, so, but you could still use this in focus by pushing the button halfway down. So, what I was getting at is how many years after this comes out, and this is lacking pretty much anything that this can do. Alright? Oh, but you can't put this in water. Okay, and it doesn't have a screen on the front. So, with that, let's kind of get to the conclusion, because this is the part where I say would I recommend this or not. And I would have to say only buy this if you have a very set scenario you want to use it for. You're at the beach, you're at the pool, whatever, and you want to take some photos underwater, then yeah, this will probably be a good choice. But the problem is, it well, it's not a very good camera for anything else. And with the competition having better cameras and something that you carry around with, most people carry around with them everywhere they go, i.e. a smartphone, I just don't see how this does anything better than any almost other device you have. You want a real camera, get a point and shoot similar to this, or the modern version of this, which is even better. Or use your smartphone. A lot of them can go underwater anyway now. So this just seems like, I don't know, it came out too late.